Good evening and welcome to the Whiskey Lovers Society with me, Gert Retief. And tonight, a little bit of a celebration. It's the 1 year anniversary of my YouTube channel and also 500 subscribers. I'm standing as of now at 516 subscribers. So I'm quite happy about the result of the 1 year. And so tonight is all about the celebration. Of course, this YouTube channel was a little bit of a COVID baby, something that was developed and started due to COVID. And of course, all the opportunities that I have when you work from home, I think that for me was the big opportunity. You don't have to get up at 6 in the morning and leave for work and come back at 6 in the evening, and you eat and sleep. So not a lot of extra time to do YouTube videos. So with this bad situation, we turned it a little bit around, and I decided 1 year ago, exactly 1 year ago, I am going to make a video. And I remember it so well. Bad equipment, bad sound equipment, using a webcam on a really old laptop. So was not a very easy thing for me to do, quite unedited. I think I just saved it in the end and uploaded it to YouTube, hoping that people will find it somehow, find a rant and the raves about my start in the whiskey journey. And from there on, of course, you start watching YouTube videos to see how can you improve, get better equipment, get better video camera, get a little bit better microphone, and trying to improve to create a quality video that everybody can enjoy, and maybe follow me on my journey to explore some whiskies. So for me, if I look back at that first video, please don't do it. It is just terrible. There was absolutely zero confidence in my voice. It was a little bit too long, I think. People don't appreciate long videos, but I did go through the journey on starting the whiskey, drinking whiskey with my dad. Well, first drinking whiskey without my dad's knowledge. And so it's been more than 35 years already that I started this journey. And of course, growing up in South Africa, you drink blended whiskies. All of the cheap blended whiskies. So my journey with the whiskey and the blended whiskey was most of the time the cheap variety. I know we used to have White Horse, which is apparently still available. That was a blended scotch. We also had Ballantines, two keys that came up quite early in my whiskey journey. It was a very cheap whiskey. But that is the things that we could afford, and that's the things that my dad used to buy. So of course, it was all up to him what I was drinking from the age about 17, 16, 17. I would slip a couple of whiskeys, and that time it was whiskey and some soda water or bubbly water. That was the way we were drinking it. Of course, at 16, 17, it was not a nice experience. I didn't really like it. But of course, my dad drank it, and I would go pour him a drink. Of course, a couple of sips belonged to me before I hand over the glass to him. And that was the start of my whiskey journey. So Ballantines was one of the whiskies that came to mind. Dimple. I remember my dad got a bottle of Dimple whiskey. That's many years ago as a birthday gift, and that was the special one in the cabinet. Something that he would only drink every now and again, a small nip of it, and of course that was watered down a little bit because every time I would also want to know the special one, I would add a little bit to a glass, fill it up that same amount with a little bit of water. So I think that 40% ended probably in the end about 30% of alcohol by volume. But that was my pre adulthood drinking experience. Then, of course, Chivas Regal. Oh, my word, Chivas Regal. That for us was quite special. And I had one opportunity many, many years ago to try it. And I thought that was something that I would love to explore in the future. And of course, I thought that was the top tier for me. We only know about or knew about the Johnny Walker Blue Label. I remember years ago, I started working already, went to a pub, and they had a bottle of Blue Label whiskey. Some of my lawyer friends, they ordered a single of the Blue Label, and it was just crazy expensive. It's like you could buy about 3 bottles of regular whiskey for that same price. So never knew it, never tried it, and still haven't tried it up to now. Johnny Walker Red Label, I think that is something that was also a little bit special then, and only had a couple of them over the years. Never a big fan of it, but of course, Johnny Walker is available everywhere. And then we upgraded a little bit to the Johnny Walker Black Label, and I think that for me became a little bit more special and something that I enjoyed, especially if you had a little bit of extra money. It was also a good idea to spend a little bit more on the Johnny Walker Black Label. And of course, later on, I also tried the Johnny Walker Green Label, the Johnny Walker Double Black. Still not going to try the Johnny Walker Blue Label. And then, of course, we talked about peated whiskey. Never knew about the existence of peat whiskey. Never tried it up until I think 2001 or 2002 when I visited a friend of mine here in Belgium. I remember it clearly. I just arrived after a 15-16 hour flight. Came to his house and he said, "Come, we're gonna go out with friends for a big party." And I said, "There's no way that I am going to go to a party now. I need some sleep." So he said, "No problem. You sleep, but I'm gonna give you something nice to drink." So he hands me a box of whiskey, and and the funny thing is, here is the box. And it's a box of Artbeck 10-year-old, a gift set. Of course, it's going to be empty now. And so you had the bottle over here. You had some glasses over here, 2 nice glasses with some glass lids. And of course, a small little hip flask. I still have it somewhere. The glasses I don't have. He couldn't find the glasses. So he gave me this box and he said, this is something that he got as a gift before he left his company. So a parting gift was this whiskey. He's not into whiskey. He hates whiskey. So he gave me the bottle unopened and says, "Enjoy." And of course, I was quite excited. Artbeck 10-year-old, for me, that is also quite exciting. So I opened the bottle, poured myself a glass. Oh my word, that was just absolutely terrible. First time experience with a peated whiskey. I couldn't believe that anybody wants to drink that. I only just tasted it barely. In the end, it went down the drain. Couldn't drink it. Definitely not for me. And the funny thing is, about 3 years ago, we went for a barbecue at his house, and he said, "Wait, he's got some nice whiskey for me." And he pulled out this box, and there was not much left, maybe about a half a bottle of this whiskey. And you can imagine that was, I opened that bottle in 2001 or 2002. So it's been oxidizing for many, many years. And we had a glass of this, and it was fantastic. I can tell you, if you have an opened Ardbeg 10-year-old and you let it oxidize, especially getting below the half level mark, and you try that whiskey after that oxidization for so many years, it becomes something fantastic. That cinnamon, I can still taste that cinnamon heat with that hint of that smoke coming out. Wow, absolutely fantastic. So don't throw away that Ardbeg 10 that you might not like. Give it an opportunity to oxidize, and it will change completely. So tonight, with the celebrations, I decided to take a look at some 3 special whiskies. So the whiskey number 1 that I'm going to try is the Nikka Taketsuru 17-year-old. Now, I only have a sample of it. And the reason that I have a sample of that, because if I have to go buy it, it's going to cost me 260 euros for the bottle. And funnily enough, it's quite available at my online store. It's just one click away. A small deposit, maybe half a kidney, and you can get a bottle of Nikka Taketsuru 17-year-old. So this is it. This is the Nikka Taketsuru 17-year-old, and I'm quite excited to try it. And the funny thing is, I don't know how my online store works, because sometimes they will charge you €7 for a 30 milliliter sample, and the bottle whiskey will cost you maybe 60 or 70 euro. And for this one, they charged me €10 for a bottle that costs 260 euros. So how the math work, I don't really understand it. This should have been quite more expensive, but I don't mind if I'm paying a little bit less for something. So quite happy to find this one. Quite happy to give it a try. I love the Nikkas. I've done so many Nikkas. I will put a little bit of a link over here somewhere, so that you can also go look at the other Nikkas that I've tried. Nikkas, well, in Japanese whiskey, for me in general, is really good. It's just a nice, easy drinking whiskey, something that anybody will enjoy, even if you are not a whiskey drinker. Not always super complex, but it is really enjoyable, something that I love. Yamazaki, of course, unaffordable for me at this stage, but I did love the Yamazaki Hibiki. Absolutely fantastic. So enough of the chit chat. Let's take a look at the Nikka Taketsuru 17-year-old. Oh, absolutely fantastic. So this is a real Japanese whiskey, not sourced from other countries. From what I know with my research, it's bottled at 43%, and of course the cost 260 euros here in Belgium. But of course, I think if you do a little bit of research, you might find it a little bit cheaper in some countries. In some countries, I think you're going to pay a little bit more for it. So nice gold color, absolutely dark copper, and the nose is absolutely fantastic. Wow, that's it. The first thing that I get is a nice sherry note, a little bit of a citrus note as well, nice dark fruits, and that sherry notes. That sherry notes is really predominant on it, And I get a little bit of a cooling effect in the nose, a little bit like a type of a mint coming out. That mint sweets that you just get that cooling effect when you breathe in. Then I also get a little bit of a fresh fruit. There's apples and a little bit of a pear note coming out. I get a little bit of a spicy note also from the European oak. Ooh, and then some vanilla. Especially if you coat the glass a little bit, you get a nice little bit of a vanilla note coming out. Wow, this is nice. A little bit of a honey note, a honey sweetness. And then I also get a little bit of like an old leather smell coming out. Wow, this is unbelievable. It's really complex. I get a little bit of the dark fruit, something like a mulberry. And every time I go back, I get a little bit something different. A little bit of a sweetness coming out, like a barley sweetness. A little bit of a pipe tobacco. Reminds me a little bit of, you get this, I can't remember the name of the tobacco, but it's like a sweet flavor to it. I think rum and maple tobacco. So I get that rum and maple tobacco on the nose. Dried fruits definitely there, a little bit of a raisins, definitely, even a little bit of a dried fig in the end. And a little bit of a chocolate note. Maybe a little bit of a dark chocolate, of a dark cacao. Oh, this is really nice. Now that's something, every time I go back, I get something different. So I think 17 years of maturation, I think also get a lot of that wood influences, adding all this different type of notes. So for me on the nose, absolutely a winner. Is it something that I would pay 260 euros for? I'm not so sure. So fantastic nose, but I think it is time to go into a taste. So cheers. It is really, really nice. There's the alcohol, almost non-existent for me. I get the sweetness of it. I'm not sure if it's even possible, but I get the age of it. That mellowness, that little bit of a creamy note coming out, a little bit of an oily note coming out. This just something that says this is not a young whiskey, and you also get it on the nose. Now, on the nose, that normally a young whiskey will have this a little bit of an ethanol type of hit to it, a little bit of a bite in the nose and a bite on the tongue. This I don't get any of that. So the sweetness is there. That sherry notes are definitely helping out. Sweetness, a little bit of a fruitiness, that a little bit of an apple note coming out. And then I get a hint of a oakiness coming out. I would describe it more like a little bit of an espresso note, not really a dark chocolate note, but there is a little bit of a bitterness, and I suspect that will come from the European oak that will impart a little bit of a bitterness in it. But for me, somebody that hates the bitter notes, this is very acceptable. So the alcohol is definitely there. Let me just give it one more try. Absolutely fantastic. Score-wise, I'm giving this a 94 out of 100. Absolutely fantastic. Something that I would tell you, if you like something that's sweet, a little bit of a sherry notes in it, a little bit of a chocolate note coming out, dried fruits, this is definitely for you. Of course, you have to take in consideration €260 for this bottle. I'm not so sure. Um, that is a lot of money for a bottle of whiskey, especially if you look at how many bottles of whiskey that you can buy 21-year-old, but will cost maybe less than this one. So if you can afford it, definitely buy it. This is absolutely fantastic. Love the Japanese whiskies. A little bit of a fanboy of the Nikkas. I also have another Nikka on waiting for me on that side, the Nikka Days. That will also be reviewed sometime soon. And of course, that brings me to the next whiskey. And this is something that I'm going to have to take a little bit of time with. And there's a reason behind it. Now, not so long ago, there was an online challenge with regards to making your own blended whiskies. You're supposed to mix 3 whiskies together, and when you send your whiskey to a fellow YouTuber, and of course he will review your whiskey, and so we make this chain effect of whiskey reviews with your own infinity bottle. And I made my bottle, made my video, put a link somewhere of my 3 whiskies that I made. Well, I'm no blender, but I was under the impression I took a peated whiskies, mixed it with some other whiskies to bring the peat level down, sweetness level up, and I thought I did a fantastic job. So I sent it off to a YouTuber, Greg's Whiskey Guide, a guy with absolutely fantastic knowledge of whiskey. He's got a collection of whiskies that is, I think, one of the best in Europe, probably. He's got a wealth of knowledge, and he's a type of guy that loves sharing his knowledge to other people. A fantastic guy. Haven't met him in real life, but we've communicated on online forums for the last 7-8 months. So it was nice meeting him online. And in return, he sent me some samples of his. He sent me some samples of the ones that he blended. Some small samples. I haven't started with these, so not really in the spirit of the challenge, because this is more than 3 whiskies that's in here. But what's so nice and professional of him, he sent me the notes of everything. Now, this is very meticulous work. So this is his notes on the 2 small little bottles that he sent to me. And tonight we are going to look at this a special one. And this special one is something that he created as a collaboration with a small little distillery in France. And I thought this is a perfect opportunity for me to taste this one and to maybe not give a professional opinion on it, but just to give my initial thoughts on this whiskey. And I might do a full review a little bit later on. So maybe not a fair assessment of this one. And for Greg, I apologize if I'm going to screw up some of the French words that you have sent me. But I'm quite looking forward to it. So, nice sample. And somebody is professional when he sends you a sample and he puts a nice sticker on it and with his profile picture. I think that is so professional. And he gives you Greg's Whiskey Guide, and he gives me, this is a 2021 sample from the lot number 1, so the first sample that came out, and bottled at 40, I think it's 45% ABV. So quite ticking the boxes. And I'm going to just give it a quick review. Sorry, this is not going to be a polished, edited version. I'm just try it as I go along. So I'm going to give this a quick pour. A small one because I need to keep a little bit extra for maybe later a full review. So all the information that he gave me, I'm just going to have a look and just to give you a little bit of background information on this whiskey because I think this is important. This is something that not a lot of people is going to see. This is a small distillery, but this is something that Greg created in collaboration with this small little company. So the name of it is going to be the Northmaen. I'm not sure if there's a explanation on why it's called that. It's called the Cuvee. I'm not sure if I pronounce it correct. It's French. Cuvee, Cuvee 1110, batch 1 of 2021. So this comes from a farm brewery distillery called La Chapelle. And in brackets you have this Northmaen. And it's located in the La Chapelle Saint-Quin in Normandy in France. So it is a small brewery directed by Dominique Comas. And this was established in 1997. And they've been producing whiskey only since 1999. What else is there? So let's start with this Cuvee. It is a blended of cask created by Greg as a consultant blender for this reference. So Greg is involved in this whiskey. And let's see what else is important. So this is a French craft single malt whiskey. Celebrates the 1110th anniversary of Saint Clair Sur Epte Treaty. Sorry, Greg. I don't know if I pronounced that correctly. So this is a treaty with the creation of the Duchy of Normandy in 911. So very old references to a celebration. The whiskey itself, there's a blend between 5 different vintages from 3-year-old to 9-year-old, using ex-Bordeaux red wine casks, French oak casks, and also French acacia wood casks. So I'm quite looking for that. I don't think I've ever had anything with a acacia wood. I know my dad used to work with some acacia woods many years ago. And if you put that through the planer, it's quite an aromatic wood. So quite interesting going to be to taste it as well. And the last thing that I also use is a little bit of a sweet white wine cask from the Sauternes white wine. So that's a nice sweet dessert wine. Created 1,000 bottles. And I see now the natural color, non-chill filtered, and it's bottled at 48% ABV. And the recommended purchase price is going to be about €65. So quite affordable whiskey. I think reasonable, especially at 48% ABV, quite a reasonable price. So I'm looking forward to it. No notes on this one. All gonna just pop out from my head. So if I don't pick up everything, of course, I will do a little bit full review later on. So on the nose, the Northmaen Cuvee 1110. Cheers. This is nice. Completely different. This is not a Scotch. This is not a American whiskey. This is not a bourbon. The first thing that I get is a lot of light perfume coming off. It reminds me of a musk sweets that we get in South Africa. My mom always used to have this in her purse. So there's a lovely sweetness as well. At the 48%, I don't really get the 48%. It feels very mellowed out. A little bit, a hint maybe of a orange peel. But when I get this, and I can only suspect that it comes from the acacia wood, I get something that I've never smelled before. It's more like a rye whiskey. So on the nose, I get that lovely sweetness. I get that little strange note coming out, a pleasant, strange note. And a little bit of a spicy note coming out as well. A little bit of a vanilla note. And I also get a little bit of a cinnamon note. And I also get that nice cooling effect from the nose, a little bit like a herbal note. And something like when you just cut some fresh flowers and you that green note that you get when you cut the stems, I get a little bit of that. The sweetness is, the more I wait, the more I nose it, the more sweetness is actually coming out. That is really nice. Greg, this is a fantastic job. So on the taste, cheers. Warm, a little bit spicy, and then I get that same musk sweets in the taste. That sweetness, it just takes me back many, many years when you would sit in church and you just go give 2 coughs. Mom takes the handbag out, take out 2 of these pink sweets, give it to you because you cannot sit and cough in church. And this is it. This is my youth in church, sitting next to my mom and tasting something that I know and loved. This takes me back to a fantastic memory. Thanks, Greg. It's a lovely sweetness. That warm feeling is there. No oak. Even on the second sip, I'm always waiting. Where's the oak coming in? When I'm going to say I don't like something, this is a dangerous one. This is something that I would definitely like to get a full bottle on my bar. So I'm definitely going to see where I can buy it. It's just pleasant. A nice, easy sipping whiskey. Now that little bit of an oak comes in as an afterthought, but just a hint of that oak. Let me just give it one more try. Absolutely fantastic. I would definitely recommend it. If you can find one of these 1,000 bottles, give it a try. Come back, leave me a comment, and tell me if you find this lovely pink sweets in this one. I would just love to hear your opinion. Absolutely fantastic. So for the last one, I am going to start with something that's quite heavy in the alcohol. I'm going to start off what you've seen in the picture, Aberlour, Abuna, and this is the batch number 58. Going to give you a little bit of information on this batch. So, background on this one, I bought this bottle, I think, a year ago. I just started a YouTube channel, and I was looking for something that's going to be special, and I had it in mind to open something special on a special occasion and do it on the video. So I bought a couple of bottles actually. If I look at my bar, I have the 12-year-old Macallan, I have the 25-year-old Glenfarclas, and the 10-year-old Glenallenke Cast Strength batch 6, and then of course the Glendronach 18-year-old, the 2019 edition. So that is the ones that I could pick. So I had to decide which one I'm going to open for my 1-year anniversary. The idea was to open up the Glendronach 18-year-old, but I had a little bit of a condition. One of the conditions, 1,000 subscribers. Well, I'm only at 50% of that. And one of the conditions, maybe 4,000 watch hours. Of course, I'm way short of the 4,000 watch hours. So I had to downgrade a little bit because it needs to be very special to open a 25-year-old Glenfarclas or a bloody expensive Glendronach 18-year-old. I think they are retailing now about 170, 180 euros. Crazy. So decided on this one. That is the Aberlour Abuna. It's a Highland single malt Scotch whiskey. It is bottled straight from the cask, bottled at 61.1% alcohol by volume, non-chill filtered, batch number 58. It's nice that they have all this information on the bottle. You don't have to go look on the internet to find it. Matured in Spanish Oloroso sherry butts, and a little bit matured exclusively in sherry butts. Abuna is bottled at cask strength and without the use of modern chill filtration methods, ensuring a dark, luxurious and rich whiskey. The Abuna means the origin in Gaelic. What else do we have? Good thing, not pregnant. So if you're pregnant, please don't drink it. And they also have a little bit of a QR code for more information. And I love this little stumpy bottle. I love the fact that they have this raised lettering on it. Aberlour established in 1879. Love the bottle. Not so sure if I love this wax that they put on. A couple of the bottles that I've tried with this wax, you have to really cut into it. Hopefully you don't cut into the cork. So not easy always to get into this bottle. And then you have this nice fat cork in it, nice stopper to it. Of course, you can take the wax off. I do need to cut the wax off the lid because it makes quite a lip. Look at this opening. It looks like a door stopper. But I do like the idea of it. It's not always that practical. So my first impressions. I can smell it already. I just poured it. Aberlour Abuna, batch 58 on the nose. Fish. Absolutely This is a strong boy. Be careful, don't just stick the nose in, especially if you have the big snores like me. Don't stick it in. Oh, this is navy. Sweet, sherry, dusty note. Something like I can imagine. I haven't been in a one of these dunnage warehouses in Scotland, but I can imagine this is what it smells like. That woodiness, that little bit of a dusty, soft, damp ground, a little like a basement type of smell, a little bit of a moldy type of smell, but a sweet, moldy type of smell. So I get the oak, I get the alcohol, I get that dust note, something like for somebody, if it just start rain, hot day, some water drops fall on the ground, you get a little bit of a dusty smell coming off. And when that slowly disappears and it leaves you with all these fruits, dried fruits, again, I get a little bit of that minty note coming out. Phew. Dark red apples, maybe a little bit of a toffee apple note. Cotton candy, sweet cotton candy. This is nice. I'm a little bit scared. I do have a little bit of water that I'm going to add to it. 61 is going to be definitely the last one that you can taste before destroying the taste buds for a day and a half. Wow. Really fantastic on the nose. On the taste, cheers. Wow. It just disappears in the mouth. With this high ABV, it's gone, and it leaves me with this intense, sweet sherry note. And a little bit of a strange one, a hint of, I would say, it gives me a little bit of a fuel note, something like jet fuel. Very strange. Actually, something that I also picked up on the Springbank 12-year-old. They had also a little bit of that, some people call the diesel note, but I also get a hint of that. Not unpleasant, but that is something that came to mind. Really, really nice. Let me just give it one more try at this high ABV. I don't know how much sherry was left in this cask, but this is a sherry monster of note. It's just sherry, sherry, sherry. I think if I take a bottle of Pedro Jimenez sherry, mix a little bit of Oloroso sherry in it, and this is it. The sweetness of it, the sherry notes of it, oh, this is really, really nice. I've got some nice clean water. I'm just going to add I'm going to add quite a lot on this one. So I have about 3 teaspoons of water. I'm going to put everything in there. I'm sure it's going to be still quite high ABV, even with that water added. A little bit of a mist appearing on the nose. Wow. Now, I was a little bit worried about this one. I was worried that I'm not going to like it. I did chase the sherry whiskies for many, many years. And a lot of the times I was a little bit disappointed in it. Especially some of the sherry that they have this sulfur note, a little bit of an eggy note coming out from the sulfur candles that they use. Nothing like that. It is just as lovely sweetness, more sweeter now with a little bit of a water added. Alcohol went down. A lot of sherry notes again, a lot of sweetness, a hint of a chocolate note coming out, raisins, figs, dates, Christmas cake. Sure, that is just fantastic on the nose. And I think I will prefer it with a little bit of water. Definitely just a sipping whiskey. Don't mix this with anything. No cocktails, please. No old fashions. Maybe a little bit of a no. Just forget it. Don't do it. On the taste of water. Let me just try one more. Now, if I have opened this bottle 1 year ago, when I think this channel would not have existed. In the beginning, I was chasing the sherry bombs, and I was most of the time disappointed. It was not the perfect one. It's not the one that I was looking for. I think I found it. My previous sherry monster that I liked, if I look at my shelf, I think I have to look at the Aberlour 10. For me, that was a big sherry monster. I also tried the Millstone peated Pedro Jimenez Dutch sherry bomb. Terrible experience with it. Also, I think I think that is the nice sherry monsters, the Macallans. I was also always a little bit disappointed in Macallan. I think Macallan is riding on a name that they created for himself many years ago. I think they just have a lot of PR BS on their side. I did like some of them. I went to the Glendronach. Not always a big fan of them, but it was quite enjoyable. But it was not what I was looking for. I was looking for a sherry monster, a sherry bomb, something that gives me that I wanted. I even started mixing my own whiskies and adding some sherry straight into it to create something that I wanted. Aaron also comes to mind. The 12-year-old Aberlour still was not what I was looking for. What else? A couple knock and do comes to mind. The Tamnavulin comes to mind. Glencadam also have some sherry whiskies. So I was looking for something. The last one I think was I really tried was the Glenrothes. Was not really a big fan of that. So if I knew this one or I opened this one, the search would have been over and done with. On the nose, it is fantastic. On the taste, is fantastic. You have an opportunity to take something at 61%, 61.1% ABV. You can add it to the water. If you want to drink it at 61%, you drink it at 61%. If you want to drink it at 40%, you add just a lot of water to get to your 40%. That makes this bottle of 700 milliliters. I can make that probably 1.1 liters in the end. Great value for money. Now, this is the only one that I've tried. We are probably on batch 60, 61 already. They keep on bringing new batches out. So will there be a difference? Probably. It is straight from the cask, so every cask is going to be different. But if they are just quite similar to this one, I'm definitely going to be a fanboy and I'm going to start buying batches and see what the differences are. But I suspect they could be quite similar in the end. So just give it one more. Creamy note. That sweetness is just inviting. It tells you bring more, more, more. Then I'm waiting. Where's the oak? Where's the oak? No oak. I don't know how they do it. I don't know how old it is. Actually, I don't care how old it is. All that I know is I found the whiskey that I've been chasing for 1 year. That means the sherry ones is going to, but coming up next is going to have to be compared to this one. Good luck to them. So, score-wise, 95 out of the 100. And I think this is the highest score that I've given a whiskey. I don't think many whiskies for me got into the 90s anyway. I'm a little bit of a snob when it comes to giving high scores. I don't look at other people's scores and try to match them. This is my opinion. This is my opinion on a sherry cask. If you haven't tried it, definitely give it a try. Leave a comment and tell me that you like it as much as I liked it. And I can imagine there's a lot of people with not maybe into the sherry casks that will tell me, yeah, that's too sweet. It's not something that they really like. In the end, for me, if you're a fan of the sherry cask, please give me a comment. So thank you very much for watching. I know this is going to be quite a long video. I really appreciate all of the comments that I get in my videos. I appreciate all my subscribers. And I would like to hear from you. If I look at the analytics from YouTube, I think it's about 80% of the regular returned viewers are not subscribers yet. Now, I normally just put this in the end of my video, but I think it is important also for me to get to know you. Leave a comment. Please remember to subscribe. You don't have to like, but of course, if you like and subscribe, what it does mean for YouTube is that people are watching my videos. That also means more viewers, more watch hours, maybe also helping me to get to the 4,000 watch hours, and of course also 1,000 subscribers, which means a little bit of a monetization from all the adverts. So I can also get some of the money that's going to YouTube. Also, I have a Patreon account. I have a Buy Me a Coffee account. I have a merchandise store with some nice whiskey related items, clothing with some branding on it. So have a look. 100% of that money will go towards children in South Africa. You know, the last 2 years was a really bad situation for many people in many countries. Families that don't have an income lost their jobs. So my wife and I decided to help a charity in South Africa. It must say the last 2-3 years we've been doing this. It's been going very well. I think there was always a provision to buy and make sure that they have food on the table and they also have clothing. And also in the beginning of each year, we can provide them with stationery and books for school. So in the end, 100% of whatever you feel you want to give to the channel. I have one Patreon, which I was super excited. And that money also does not go to me. I will send it directly to South Africa. There's no admin fees, no administration fees, no hidden fees. 100% of that money will go towards these children. We buy food every month for them. It's 35 children. And we support 85 families during this last couple of years. And you know, there's always a provision. Every month I wonder, do we gonna have enough money? And in the end, sometimes a little bit short. Sometimes somebody comes with a huge amount of money so that we can buy enough food for them to last a full month. So feel free to contact me if you want to be part of this initiative. I have a lot of friends and colleagues and family trying to support us every month. Even my niece that did not have a job, she always gives something, and I find that quite special. So let me know if you want to be part of this initiative. So that is my 1 year celebration. Long video, and I really hope you enjoyed it. Tell me about your experience. When did you start drinking whiskey? Did you also go steal a little bit whiskey from your dad when you were young? Tell me your story. Love to hear from it, and appreciate all the subscribers, feedback, comments, all the likes. Even a little bit of YouTube started liking me lately when my average is going up. So thank you very much. See you next time, and have a wonderful 2022. Cheers.